what you're looking at right now is a still photograph just released from President-elect Trump and First Lady-to-be Melania Trump inside St. John's Church. You can see their son, Barron, standing behind the First Lady-to-be. You see Jared Kushner sitting in one of the pews. Other members of the Trump family sitting there in the pews. The church service is a tradition that has been going on in this country since FDR began Inauguration Day in 1933. Not every president has done it at St. John's Church, but it is a time-honored tradition. Dana Bash.
And that's quite a picture. You see the soon-to-be president again coming in with his wife Melania and Barron, who was quite small.
He was 10 years old.
10 years old,
and now he's
8 years
towering
ago,
over
and now
both of his
he is
parents.
the opposite of small.
He's a college student at, I believe he's at NYU.
Yeah.
He's a freshman at NYU.
And with Jared Kushner and Ivanka, his wife. Oh, and there you see a different picture.
There's JD. Let's put back, guys. Let's put back the one that we just you just popped up. The one with President Trump. There, President-elect Trump with Vice President-elect JD Vance sitting in the pews. The vice president, a member of the millennial generation.
Yeah.
Donald Trump's completely skipping over Gen X, going right to the millennials.
But can I just also make one other point? If we go back to the, sorry, control room, we're driving you crazy. But the fact is that 8 years ago, Ivanka and Jared were going into the White House.
Right.
This time, they have made it very clear they are going to be members of the first family, and they are not going to officially go into the White House. She's talked very openly about how difficult it was.
And you see right there in between J.D. Vance, the vice president-elect, and the president-elect, is Usha Vance, the incoming second lady. It looks like she is smiling at First Lady-to-be Melania Trump. They're smiling back and forth. And there, of course, on the right side of your screen, Barron Trump, the first couple's son, who is a college freshman.
This Trump family, as Dana was just pointing out, I mean, the last time around, two members of the Trump family came into the White House in official positions. But one of the differences now also is that you have the two other sons, Eric and Don Jr., who are playing really an outsized role in Trump's political life. Yeah. And even if they may not ever come to Washington, come into the White House, they are key members of the Trump inner circle. He sent his son, Don Jr., Don Jr. went on a trip to Greenland as Trump was talking about wanting to buy Greenland. And I think that the Trump family being this kind of unit, which is both now official and also they have enormous private businesses that are global in nature, is extraordinarily unusual. They're all gathered here in this church, but this family unit that is involved both in the public and the private is a feature of Trump world, and one that I think the country will be getting very accustomed to over the next 4 years.
Jamie Gangel can talk more about the decision of Jared Kushner and the first daughter, Ivanka Trump Kushner, to not enter the White House this time as they did last time. Jamie?
Jay, as Dana said, look, we know they played very large roles in the first Trump administration, and they've said they're staying out officially. That said, I think it's very important to not underestimate the influence the two of them have. Jared Kushner's father is now the ambassador, will be after confirmation. He's the nominee to be the ambassador to France. And Ivanka Trump, sources close to both of them, have told me that behind the scenes, they are both still playing a large role, that Jared is quite active. He weighs in on staffing, appointments, policy, and that Ivanka speaks to her father very often, and that she will weigh in as well. So they won't have offices there, but they will be weighing in, Jake.
And we're going to do a lot of substance today and a lot of policy.
There's another picture. There's another picture of the inside of St. John's Church, and you can see there Ivanka Trump, the first daughter, Also, you see Eric Trump and Laura Trump, a couple pews back.
Marco Rubio.
Senator Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State to be. We believe his confirmation will take place today.
Right.
He'll be the first member of the Trump administration to be confirmed by the Senate. I don't know if he's going to be confirmed unanimously, but I do anticipate it will be a very overwhelming vote of support, Marco Rubio, in the U.S. Senate.
And as I was saying, we are going to do a lot of substance, but I don't know about you, the text that I'm getting the most about is Melania and the soon-to-be First Lady again. And I just want to say, I don't know if we have
About what she's wearing.
About what she's wearing, because she has used her fashion to send messages really for 8 years.
There she is, walking in.
The last time
Video from earlier today.
Donald Trump was elected, she had kind of a Jackie O look going. This is definitely not a Jackie Kennedy look. Not even close. She's making some statement.
The number of texts I'm getting about what Melania Trump is wearing is 0. But
Abby, back me up
Well,
here.
you know, look, one of the things about Melania Trump as a first lady is that she's honestly tried to be a kind of unconventional first lady. She did not play much of a role in the president-elect's campaign. Some of that perhaps could have been for personal reasons. Her mother passed away a year ago now. So this last year was a difficult personal year for her. But in recent weeks, she's come out. She's put out a memoir. She's announced a $40 million movie deal with Amazon. She has said publicly that she plans to stand on her own 2 feet. I think and she said some of this, she wants to push back on the people who think that she is just a silent person by her husband's side. And she is going back into the White House, despite some questions about whether she would move back to Washington if he won. She is coming back to the White House, and she has been very outspoken that she wants to do it in her way, to have her own opinions, to have staff who work for her who are loyal, because in the past, some of her staffers have changed their view on her and have spoken out against her since leaving the White House. So this is a very, I think, potentially very consequential First Lady. We know that Donald Trump listens to her. She offers her advice and counsel, but she also understands him well and is very clear on the degree to which he listens to her, but he is his own person as well.
Here's another picture from inside St. John's Church. You see there from left to right, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance and his wife, the incoming Second Lady Usha Vance, President-elect Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, Barron Trump, and then other members of the Trump family scattered throughout the pews. There's an image of Ivanka Trump and her family, as well as Eric Trump, a couple pews behind as well. Caitlin Collins, we are anticipating after this church service, there will be a procession of the president-elect and vice president-elect, their spouses, visiting the White House. And the Trumps will be hosted by the outgoing president and first lady, the Bidens, for tea and coffee.
Yeah, a tradition, Jake, that we did not observe 4 years ago, of course, because Trump and Melania skipped Joe Biden's inauguration. But I should note, Jake, we're looking at the St. John's Church right now. I've been in there several times. It's a very small church when you're actually inside the room. There's a bit of a balcony where guests can also be seated upstairs. And essentially every seat in that church is filled right now for this service. And, Jake, there are some notable names in there that you can see that are not just in those pictures that you showed, where it's the cabinet officials. Of course, you expect Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, and all of the officials who are going to be staffing Trump to be inside that room. There's also people that you couldn't have imagined being in there 4 years ago or 8 years ago, and that is some of the top tech executives in this country, including Tim Cook, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg. I'm told are all inside the room for the church service this morning. And what that speaks to, Jake, is just how different things are this time around. I mean, 4 years ago, a lot of these were companies that were issuing statements condemning January 6th and Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Now that he has won, and not only won the election, but also won the popular vote, which is a key dynamic as you're thinking about Trump coming back to Washington, and certainly in the way he's viewing it, is the access of influence around him. And these are three people who have been, in addition to others certainly, who have made the trip to Mar-a-Lago, have been in all of these balls, and are also working to really curry favor with the incoming administration.